Welcome to the Senior Techie Podcast. So the next time you search the internet for an ache, a pain, or, maybe a question about a new medication, the very first answer you read will likely not be written by a doctor.
Right. It won't be written by a nurse either.
No, and honestly, it won't even be written by a human being. It's actually being generated on the spot by an artificial intelligence. And I mean, this whole landscape of finding health information online has just quietly and fundamentally shifted, right? While most of us were basically looking the other way.
Oh, absolutely. It is a completely different world now.
Right.
We've really moved away from simply searching for information where, you'd get a list of websites to go read.
Yeah, the old blue links.
Exactly. Now we're dealing with a system where a machine actively attempts to summarize and diagnose and essentially converse with you about your health. And because this shift is happening invisibly, behind the scenes, it catches a lot of people completely off guard.
Which is exactly why our mission here is to sort of map out this new terrain. We really want to explore how artificial intelligence, or AI, and chatbots are changing the way we navigate all these health questions.
Yes.
And more importantly, we're going to lay out a concrete strategy for you to use these new tools as helpful assistants without, and this is key, without ever handing over the steering wheel of your own health.
Right. Because you have to stay in control.
Exactly. The goal is to make sure you have the upper hand when you're using the internet for medical research. So let's start by establishing a shared vocabulary.
Oh, please, yes. The tech industry loves their jargon.
They really do. They make things sound so much more mysterious than they actually are. So there are two critical terms we're going to be referencing a lot. The first is an AI chatbot, specifically tools like Google's Gemini.
Right. And to define that, the easiest way to visualize an AI chatbot is to picture this incredibly eager, lightning-fast research assistant standing in the middle of the world's largest library.
Okay, I like that image.
Yeah. So if you ask this assistant a question, they just sprint down the aisles, right? They pull millions of books, read them in a split second, and write you this neat, grammatically perfect summary.
Which sounds amazing, like a dream.
It does sound like a dream, but,
Oh.
and this is the big but, this eager assistant does not have a medical degree. They are literally just summarizing what they read.
Wow. Okay, so they're just a really fast reader.
Exactly. And because their primary programming is basically just to please you and give you an answer quickly, they might confidently hand you a summary that mixes up crucial medical facts, or they might completely misunderstand your specific health context.
That makes total sense. So that image of the overeager assistant is vital to keep in mind. Now, the second term is the patient portal. And we hear this phrase from clinics and hospitals all the time, right?
Oh, constantly. Everything is check your portal.
Right. So think of a patient portal as a giant, heavily locked digital filing cabinet sitting right inside your doctor's physical office. This is where your personal official medical records, your test results, secure messages, all of that is kept there.
And it is completely closed off.
Exactly. It is not the open internet. It's a private room built strictly for you and your healthcare team.
Keeping that distinction clear is so important. The massive open library versus a secure, locked filing cabinet, it's going to protect you as we move through all this.
Definitely. So let's look at that open library first. We often think of artificial intelligence as this complicated new program, maybe some futuristic software you have to intentionally buy and install on your computer.
Right, like an app you have to go find.
Yeah, exactly. But AI has actually already moved into something most of us use every single day, which is a standard Google search.
It really has. If you go to Google right now and type in a question like knee pain at night, or what are the side effects of my new blood pressure pill, the results page looks entirely different than it did just a short time ago.
Yeah, it really does.
Instead of just a list of those blue links pointing to hospital websites or medical journals, you are going to see a chunky, highlighted box right at the very top of the screen.
Usually it's accompanied by a little sparkle icon.
Yes, the little sparkles.
And it contains this beautifully written, bulleted summary answering your question. Honestly, it looks incredibly official.
But that chunky box is Google's AI. That's Gemini, actively working in the background. It's an AI-written overview generated in milliseconds. You haven't clicked on the Mayo Clinic or the National Institutes of Health. You are just reading what that overeager library assistant synthesized for you.
Right.
And while that summary might be helpful for understanding, basic terms, investigations have shown that these AI health answers can sometimes be wildly inaccurate.
Wow, really? Oh, yeah. They have even completely contradicted official medical guidance. It got to the point where tech companies actually had to manually disable these AI summaries for certain medical queries because the advice was crossing into dangerous territory.
That's terrifying. Reading that AI summary is essentially like, well, it's like reading this short blurb on the back of a massive medical textbook.
Oh, that's a perfect way to describe it.
Right. Like, instead of actually consulting the doctor who wrote the chapters inside, you just read the back cover.
Oh.
The blurb is designed by marketers to sound authoritative and wrap things up nicely, but it leaves out all the crucial nuance.
Exactly.
So if the AI is actively generating text at the top of our search results, when we know it can hallucinate or, just invent facts, how should we alter our search habits?
Yeah.
Because let's be real, people are not going to stop Googling their health symptoms.
No, and they shouldn't have to stop. The safest approach is just a really simple adjustment in your reading habits. You need to treat that AI summary box at the top of the page as nothing more than a rough, unverified draft.
A rough draft. Okay. Yeah. Read it to get a general sense of the vocabulary being used, sure. But then you must scroll past it. Scroll down the page and click on at least one real verified source before you internalize any of that information or, consider changing anything about your care.
And when we talk about verified sources, we're looking for websites ending in .gov, right? Like the CDC or the National Institutes of Health.
Yes.
Or we're looking for major university medical centers or recognized institutions like the Cleveland Clinic, because those organizations have rigorous, multi-layered review processes.
Right. Their information is vetted by actual human doctors and specialists before it ever reaches the public.
Whereas the chatbot is operating on entirely different mechanics.
Entirely different. And this is a crucial point about how these systems actually work. An AI chatbot doesn't know medicine. It doesn't have a biological understanding of the human body.
It's just software.
Exactly. These programs are essentially incredibly advanced predictive text engines. They're just guessing the most likely next word in a sentence based on patterns they've analyzed across billions of web pages.
Wow, so it's just a guessing game.
A mathematical guessing game, yeah. If the words chest pain and stress appear near each other frequently on the internet, the AI mathematically links them. It doesn't understand the physical difference between a panic attack and a cardiac event. It just understands the math of the words.
Which means we're dealing with a tool that is highly articulate, but completely devoid of actual comprehension.
That is exactly it.
So that naturally forces us to ask, well, if we can't trust it for medical accuracy, what is it actually good for? Because there are specific tasks where these chatbots excel, right? And they can genuinely ease a lot of the friction you might experience in the healthcare system.
Well, there are absolute bright spots, provided you assign the AI the right chores. One of the biggest hurdles in healthcare is the language barrier. And I don't mean a foreign language, I mean clinical medical jargon.
Oh, absolutely.
Chatbots are phenomenal translators.
Which is deeply necessary. I mean, we've all had that experience of opening our locked filing cabinet, the patient portal, and staring at a lab result that looks like it was written in a secret code.
Yes. Say you get a test result and the doctor's notes mention elevated A1C with indications of peripheral neuropathy.
Just hearing that makes me anxious.
Right. If you don't have a medical background, that phrase can induce immediate anxiety. But you can copy that specific phrase, paste it into a general AI chatbot, and just instruct it. Explain this to me in plain, everyday language as if I am 75 years old and not a doctor.
That does it.
It instantly strips away the clinical speak. It will explain that A1C is simply a measure of your average blood sugar over the past few months. And peripheral neuropathy, that just refers to a tingling or numbness in your hands and feet.
Wow. The relief that comes from simply understanding the vocabulary is immense. It transforms this intimidating medical document into a manageable piece of information.
It really does.
And beyond acting as a translator, I imagine this technology is incredibly useful for organizing information before you even step foot in the clinic. Because a lot of the stress of a doctor's visit comes from knowing you only have, about 15 minutes to explain a month's worth of scattered, vague symptoms?
Yes. Organizing a messy narrative is perhaps the most practical chore you can give an AI. If you feel off after starting a new medication a few weeks ago, your thoughts are likely going to jump around, right?
Right. You had a headache on Tuesday, your stomach hurt on Friday.
And you felt dizzy this morning.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you can open a chatbot, type out all your symptoms exactly as they pop into your head, no matter how disorganized they are, and then prompt the AI to organize your thoughts into a clear chronological timeline with bullet points.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And then you just print that out and hand it directly to your doctor.
So you are essentially using the AI as a digital prep cook? Like in a restaurant kitchen, the prep cook handles all the tedious work. They chop the onions, portion the ingredients, and organize everything into little bowls.
I love that analogy.
Right. That way, the master chef, which is your doctor, can just step up to the stove and focus entirely on cooking the meal perfectly. The chatbot handles the tedious organization so the doctor can dedicate their limited time to the actual medical diagnosis.
And that prep cook role extends to supporting your daily routines, too. Wearable devices, like smartwatches and various smartphone apps, use underlying AI to nudge you about taking medications on time.
Right, the reminders.
Yeah, they passively track your steps, monitor your sleep cycles. Some can even take a month's worth of scattered blood pressure readings and generate a clean, simple chart for you. Handing an AI-generated chart of your daily blood pressure to a physician makes a short appointment remarkably productive.
That sounds so helpful. And we also see this technology starting to untangle the sheer bureaucracy of healthcare. A lot of people find navigating their official patient portal incredibly frustrating. It can be this huge maze of drop-down menus and confusing links just to find a simple form.
Exactly. Recognizing that frustration, many health systems are now embedding specialized, secure chatbots directly into their patient portals.
Really? Inside the locked cabinet?
Yes, inside the secure portal. So instead of hunting through 6 different screens to figure out how to order a prescription, you can just type a natural sentence into the clinic's bot. You just type, "Please refill my heart medication," or "Show me my appointments for next month."
And it just handles it.
The bot bypasses all the menus, fetches the specific information, and processes the request instantly.
Okay, using the AI as a prep cook or a clerical assistant makes perfect sense. But let me push back for a second. If we rely on our digital prep cook to translate a complicated lab letter like we discussed earlier, we run into a glaring risk, don't we?
We do.
If the AI hallucinates or guesses the wrong next word, it could mistranslate something critical. It could substitute a word that completely alters the severity of our health status, and we wouldn't know any better.
That is a very real danger. And addressing that risk requires a very specific protocol. You mitigate the danger of a mistranslation by keeping the human doctor as the final, absolute authority.
Okay, how do we do that?
You take that plain English translation the AI generated for you, you print it out, and you bring it physically to your appointment. You hand it to your physician and say, "I used an AI assistant to help me break down the jargon in my lab letter. This is my baseline understanding now. Did I get it right?"
Ah, I see. So you're using the AI to facilitate the conversation rather than to bypass the doctor entirely. It helps you build enough foundational knowledge to ask better questions, but the human expert still reviews it, corrects any misinterpretations, and decides the course of action.
Exactly. Because if we trust that plain English translation blindly, we run headfirst into a massive limitation of these tools. They sound incredibly calm, highly authoritative, and entirely confident, even when they are delivering catastrophically wrong information.
Which brings us to the context blind spot. When you're sitting in an exam room, your doctor is doing so much more than just listening to your words. They're looking at your skin tone, they hear the quality of your breathing, they know your family history, and they have years of experience observing you.
Right. They see the whole picture.
But the AI has none of that context. It only has the few words you typed into a prompt box on a screen.
The machine doesn't truly perceive you as a patient. It is just processing text. And while making a statistical guess is harmless if you're asking for a chicken soup recipe, it is incredibly dangerous during a medical crisis.
Oh, absolutely.
Consider an emergency scenario. You're sitting at home, you suddenly feel a tightening pressure in your chest, and you're having trouble catching your breath.
Under normal circumstances, you would call a nurse hotline or dial 911.
Right. But if you're accustomed to using an AI assistant for your everyday questions, you might open a chatbot on your phone and type in those symptoms. And because the AI is blind to your physical state, it might analyze the words chest pressure and shortness of breath, cross-reference them with billions of internet articles, and respond with a friendly message stating that these can often be signs of anxiety.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It might suggest you try deep breathing exercises for 10 minutes.
Listening to the bot, trying to breathe through it, and delaying a call to 911, that is the absolute worst case scenario. This is exactly when a machine should never have the final say. A predictive text engine cannot diagnose a heart attack.
Never. To protect yourself from the illusion of the AI's authority, you really need a concrete physical barrier. We highly recommend taking a piece of paper and writing down a firm rule to tape near your computer or on your refrigerator.
What should the note say?
It should say, chest pain, trouble breathing, sudden confusion, or weakness. I call a clinician or 911. I do not ask a chatbot first.
Writing it down removes the temptation to debate it with a computer in a moment of panic. That's really smart. And that scenario highlights the vast difference between regulated medical tools and consumer internet software.
Yes, it does.
We have been conditioned to assume that anything giving us health advice in a clinical tone has been heavily regulated. I mean, if you get a pacemaker, that device has undergone years of rigorous clinical trials and approval by federal health agencies.
But consumer health chatbots and AI search summaries are not regulated medical devices. They're consumer software, launched by tech companies moving at breakneck speed. They haven't gone through clinical testing.
Right.
If the AI gives you bad advice, the tech company might eventually patch their software, but you are the one who suffers the immediate, real-world, physical consequences.
Which leads directly to another severe vulnerability, and that's privacy. Entering your personal data into a public chatbot is fundamentally different from giving it to your doctor.
Oh, completely different.
Taking your private medical records and typing them into an open internet AI feels like taking your health history and just dropping it into a public suggestion box on a busy street corner.
It all comes back to the locked filing cabinet analogy. If you are using a chatbot that is explicitly built inside your doctor's official patient portal, that specific tool is generally covered by strict medical privacy laws. The clinic is legally bound to protect your data.
But the open internet is different.
Exactly. If you open a general internet search engine, download a random free app, or use a public AI tool, you have stepped completely outside that locked cabinet. If you type your full name, your list of medical diagnoses, and your insurance details into a public AI, that tech company may legally store your highly sensitive information.
Wow.
They may use your personal health data to train or improve their system, and there is absolutely no medical professional monitoring how your data is handled.
So the golden rule is simple. Never type personally identifiable medical information into a public chat window.
Never.
But beyond the privacy risks, there is this fascinating sociological element to this transition. As we researched this, the generational divide in how people approach these chatbots was really striking.
It's so interesting. There was a very revealing study examining this dynamic. Researchers found that older adults generally view chatbots as a bridge.
A bridge.
Yeah, they want to use the automated system to quickly get through the digital line, process their paperwork, and ultimately reach a human being, like a nurse or a doctor, to have a meaningful conversation about their health.
That makes perfect sense.
But younger adults, conversely, often use chatbots as a wall. They want the bot to resolve the issue entirely so they can avoid talking to a person altogether.
A bridge versus a wall. That is a profound difference in intent. And the danger is that hospital administrators and tech developers who are, often looking to cut costs, might design their systems entirely as walls.
Yes.
If medical clinics lean heavily on AI to replace human interaction, older patients who value that connection are going to feel completely alienated from their own healthcare.
And because the risks of privacy loss, bad advice, and the erosion of human connection are so substantial, we really need a clear, empowering framework. We have to know how to protect ourselves while still extracting the actual benefits.
Like translating that dense jargon or organizing our symptoms for the prep cook.
Exactly. We need to set strict, non-negotiable rules for how we interact with this technology.
So the safest way to navigate this is to use AI to learn, but never to decide. Treat chatbots like highly patient librarians. They can explain complex terminology and summarize long, confusing instructions.
Right.
But if the answer the AI provides would lead you to change your medication doses, delay urgent care, or alter your treatment plan, a human being must be brought into the loop before you take action.
Alongside learning, rather than deciding, you should restrict portal bots strictly to bureaucracy. Let the clinic's embedded chatbot schedule your upcoming appointments, request your prescription refills, or, pull up driving directions to the specialist.
But no symptom checking.
No. The exact moment a bot starts attempting to assess how worried you should be about a new physical symptom, you step away from the keyboard and call a human triage nurse.
Decisions must remain fundamentally human. Reminders are wonderful. If your smartphone buzzes to remind you to take your pill, that is a great use of technology. But never allow an app, a wearable device, or a piece of software to automatically optimize or alter your medication regimen on its own.
Never.
Regardless of how advanced it claims to be, only your doctor or pharmacist should change your dose.
Finally, we must remain vigilant about emotional dependence. The tech industry is currently releasing AI companion bots designed simply to converse with you.
Just to chat.
Yeah. And if interacting with an AI companion makes a lonely Tuesday afternoon a little more interesting, that is fine.
Yeah.
But it requires self-awareness. If you find yourself spending more time talking to a device than you are reaching out to your friends, your family, or your local community, that is a significant red flag.
Yeah, that's a great point. Loneliness is a documented severe health issue, and while bots might offer temporary distraction, they should never quietly replace genuine human relationships.
Absolutely not. So, to put this defensive framework into practice, we have a concrete action step. The next time you sit down to use any AI tool, even if you are just using Google to search a minor health question, ask yourself 3 specific questions to establish a boundary.
What's the first one?
Number 1, what specific job am I hiring this AI to do right now? Number 2, at what point does a human have to take over this process? And number 3, what personal information am I absolutely not willing to share with it?
I love that. By clearly answering those 3 questions before you type a single word, you build a mental fence. It becomes much harder for a chatbot to subtly wander into a diagnostic job it has no business performing.
Setting those boundaries is key.
And the Senior Techie is a fantastic resource to check back with, by the way, as they constantly track how these boundaries are evolving with the technology. But let's bring this all down to a practical, everyday level. If a listener, say, someone named Marjorie, is sitting at her kitchen table right now and wants to test the water safely this week, what is the absolute lowest risk way to start experimenting with this technology?
The perfect zero-risk trial is to use the AI exclusively as a translator. Go to your patient portal, your locked filing cabinet, and print out a physical copy of the notes or test results from your last doctor's visit.
Okay, print it out.
Then open a general chatbot on your phone or computer. Do not type your name, do not type your doctor's name, and do not include your birth date. Just type this prompt. Rewrite this medical text in clear, everyday language for a 75-year-old. Then paste the text of the note.
So you just watch the overeager assistant do its job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the critical final step is that you print out the AI's translation, bring it to your next physical appointment, and say to your doctor, "This is how my AI assistant explained your clinical note. Is it accurate?"
That is so smart. It accomplishes 2 vital things. First, it immediately tests the bot's usefulness. You will know instantly if the AI made the information clearer or if it just introduced more confusion. Second, it demonstrates to your doctor that you are actively, intelligently engaged in your own care while firmly keeping the physician in the role of the master chef. You extract the benefit of the technology without exposing yourself to the risk.
It's the perfect balance.
So to summarize the terrain we have covered, AI is already quietly embedded in the search engines we use every day. It acts as a powerful, lightning-fast digital prep cook. It is exceptional at breaking down complicated medical jargon, organizing your scattered symptoms into a neat, chronological timeline, and handling the frustrating bureaucracy of online health portals.
But it is fundamentally not a doctor.
Right. It suffers from a dangerous context blind spot. It is not regulated like a medical device, and it should never, ever make the final call on your health, particularly in an emergency.
We must keep our hands firmly on the steering wheel. As we integrate these tools into our routines, I want to leave everyone with a final thought to mull over.
Okay, what is it?
As chatbots become increasingly advanced and perhaps down the road, even mathematically more accurate at diagnosing everyday ailments, will the sheer frictionless convenience of talking to a screen cause us to forget how essential the empathy, the intuition, and the physical presence of a human nurse or doctor is to our actual healing process?
Wow, that is the essential question we all must navigate as this technology moves forward. Thank you for joining us for this conversation. This podcast was brought to you by The Senior Techie. It's available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. If you'd like to receive their free newsletters, you can subscribe at theseniortechie.com.